please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, welcome to tonight's planning board meeting. Please be aware of the fire exits, which are to the left of the room. In the event of emergency, please move in a calm and orderly manner, and please use the stairs and not the elevator. The meetings are recorded by a secretary for the purpose of a record and minutes, so please identify yourself each time you come to the podium and speak into the microphone. The board will follow the items in the order they appear on the agenda. Extra copies are near the door. After the case has been called, the applicant and/or representative shall come to the podium, identify themselves, give their address, and present their case. Planning board members will then have an opportunity to question the applicant. If this case is a public hearing, it will be open for public input, at which time anyone wishing to speak to the board regarding the application will come to the podium, again, identify themselves along with their address, and give direct any questions to the board. Once all public input has been completed, an applicant or site representative will be given the opportunity to respond to any public input. Once all public input has been completed and all questions have been satisfied, the case will be closed to the public input, and the board will then move on to a decision. No further input is allowed after that point. With that, will you please call the first case?
Upon the matter of request by Allied Sign Company acting for Danielle Kamen, Arondequoit LLC, for signage approval to replace existing signage with new logo signage on premises 205 Titus Avenue, Rite Aid, in a mixed-use commercial district.
Good evening, Greg Fischel, Allied Sign, 720 Erie Boulevard West, Syracuse, New York. This is for the property at 605 Titus Ave. Rite Aid is asking for permission to remove their existing signage and put up they have a new look that they're going with other locations. It's smaller, in most cases, a less thick writing. As you can see on the south elevation, they would be removing the thick Rite Aid letters and putting up the new logo along with drive-through and pharmacy. Those are internally illuminated channel letters. Same thing on the east elevation. They would also like to take down the octagonal, the old pharmacy drive-through. A lot of the Rite Aid locations have weird looking signs. They're taking those down and going with simple rectangle signs. On the east storefront, you can see R8. That's the drive-through. Those are also LED internally illuminated. If you look on page 7 of your booklet, the Rite Aid logo and the Rite Aid letters, there's the schematics for all that. The pylon sign would be painted to match a color they're using called Sherwin-Williams March Wind. They're using that for all their locations. They would leave this externally illuminated and just change the faces. Nothing else, no size difference or illumination on the pylon. The directional signage that's already there, they're replacing with same size and construction. Just post and panel sign, non-illuminated.
Is that it? Any comments from the board?
I spoke with Donna, and got the feeling that you guys did not want the new signage to be illuminated. Oh, I'm sorry, internally, you didn't want it internally illuminated. They will, they said, you know, a couple options that, if they could put the channel letters up and not illuminate them at all, so it would look like a channel letter, but they would not illuminate it at all.
So everything except for the nylon sign will be non-illuminated,
Correct,
what you're presenting to us?
yes. Their other option is to do, like a plastic or aluminum letter, routed letter, and use the goosenecks to illuminate externally.
Are they leaving the decision to us? So we know
That's the sound of it. That's what I was told. But
I have a question. She was gonna. I have a question about the pylon sign. I looked at it a couple times and I'm just not confident. That is for sure externally illuminated right now.
as far as I know, yes. We didn't do the surveys of these, so we just get what you're seeing.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was a mistake. When I first read it, I thought it was a mistake because I thought it was an internally illuminated sign with sort of an overlay that went over it and the letters kind of glow out. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I just wanted to make sure that we got that right because you're not proposing a change, but I want to make sure that we know what the original actually
Yeah, as
is.
far as I know, it's externally illuminated.
I drove by on Monday night, Brad, and I don't see how it could be externally illuminated.
Yeah,
It's, the face of that sign is right up against the outside of the box. There's
Okay.
no place to put a lamp there, so I believe it's currently internally illuminated.
All right, I apologize. I was told it was externally illuminated. But
That's okay. Brad and I have been wondering for a week now.
looking at the photo on page 10, similarly to what you were just saying, because I drove by it too. And I didn't see it at night, unfortunately, but I don't see even in the pictures how there'd be any place for an external.
Sometimes they have a little channel, like the top right light there, in the existing photo. It's kind of like shining down. They may have some lights and stuff up there that shine down onto the face.
This picture was actually the one that made me think that maybe it was externally illuminated with that type of channel that you're talking
Yeah.
about. But when I looked in person, I don't know, maybe that's just a glare or something.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah,
really
I'll go
not.
check it out tonight since I'm here.
So let's get back to the gooseneck or the,
I'm having trouble with that decision being left up to us because I feel like we have to go through and call out each sign and how you want it illuminated or not.
I'm gonna say for myself, I am going to probably ask that the board adjourn this case and get new drawings back on this, either one way or another.
That's what I was-
If he
that's
wants
what I
us to
was-
decide, I can tell you what I'm gonna decide.
Okay.
Or the corporation can decide. The one thing that we did not like was the internally lit. It's just not something that has been allowed in this district by anybody else. So that's, I don't know where everybody else is at, but that's sort of where I'm at the moment.
I agree. I like the idea of the aluminum channel letters with the gooseneck fixtures. So maybe you could come back with drawings for that, just so we know exactly
So
what we're
just the
doing.
aluminum, like inch to inch and a half thick.
Yeah, with the gooseneck light, down light, I think is what we would probably like to see. But it's best if we can see the actual renderings to approve
Absolutely.
it.
then there was some discussion about the drive-through sign, if I recall.
Oh yeah, not having them lit.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're okay with the drive-through signs, but we didn't want to have those lit. But
Okay.
obviously, if you got the gooseneck on top of the Rite Aid, it's gonna, those are gonna be lit. We're talking about the one off to the left-hand side, if you're looking page.
Smaller. auxiliary signs.
Page 4 to the left, all the way to the left.
Okay.
So we're okay with the sign, but we'd like to keep it unlit. I'm asking the board because we had some discussion at the workshop.
I agree, and there's two of them, I think E4 and E9 are both drive-through signs, so whatever we do should be consistent, I think.
E4, and where's E9? I'm sorry.
Next page.
Oh, E9, correct.
Is that that new one that Mike just bought?
I was just gonna offer to the, and wonder if the board would prefer to have, for the purposes of evaluation at the next meeting, a table that summarizes the sign, description of its location, building, north, south, where it is and what it is, and whether it's lit or not lit, so that you guys have something to refer back to, so it's very clear.
I'd even be comfortable if you use the
There's
the R1, R2, R3 designations you have here.
yeah, maybe just add it to the right-hand table. It calls out each sign. Carrie, if you look at,
We would
Yep.
probably just do a whole new booklet for you, to goosenecks.
The only other thing I'm gonna ask for is some, temp on the lights, the
Okay.
goosenecks, all right?
Also, probably how you want to address the pylon sign, whether you want to do what you're talking about with a channel light, or what the options would be for external illumination there.
so I believe at this point, we'll do the public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing so you can get some other input from the public,
Okay.
and then,
Thank you.
but I think if we're gonna table it, I'll probably leave the public hearing open. So with that, I'd like to open up the public hearing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ann Burns, and I live at 199 Bellhurst Drive, and I'm here this evening representing the Helping Arundequoit Plan for Progress community stakeholder group that's worked tirelessly for over the past 20 years on the renaissance and the economic improvement of the Titus Cooper Hudson neighborhood. We appreciate that Rite Aid's working on a new corporate logo and the proposed new signage, and that Allied Signs is here tonight. We appreciate that you drove all the way from Syracuse to be here. And the conversation has been superb. This is exactly what we were hoping for. We wondered, based on this conversation, will the current sign be repainted? We couldn't tell that from the drawings, so, asking if it's gonna be replaced, how the channel lighting is going to light that up. We might recommend that lighting be turned off when the business is not open, because this is gonna be a much brighter sign than what is there now. And it'll be a billboard on that corner if the lighting is really bright. So it sounds like the current sign not being externally lit, if this one has the lighting externally, we appreciate that, but just, we would ask that the idea of possibly turning the lighting off when the business is not open, we would recommend that. The other idea, I'm wondering, based on this conversation, the aluminum signing with the letters, with the gooseneck, if they would be the same dimensioning as what is proposed as a channel lit letter. So that's a question that I put out based on this conversation. I like the dimensioning, taking things from big to small as they've recommended, but I would like that to stay, the current size, just not being internally lit, those letters. In addition, for the number of signs, to reduce the visual clutter, because that's a really small corner we're talking about. Reducing the freestanding directional signage from the proposed 4 signs. So you've got E2, E3, and R10 and R11, bringing that down to 2 signs. So retaining just E2 and E3, since these are the directional signs at the ingress and egress onto the property. Just a reminder, this store has been open now for 22 years, and most people know by now how to navigate this site. We also ask that the blue directional drive-through sign that's on the north elevation of the building facing Titus, which is number R1, that be eliminated. The words drive-through are going to be part of the main signage for that elevation. So you're going to have drive-through written under the Rite Aid on the north. You're going to have it written on the west. So taking that blue signage off the north, but leaving it on the west, we believe that that's going to be enough to indicate the location of the drive-through. The compactness of this corner, we just believe that the signage will still be visible to those wishing to shop, and you're still going to have drive-through written on that north side. It just reduces the number of signs. You know, we've worked really hard the past 20 years, over 20 years, bringing better signage into the district, and we appreciate the planning board working with us on this. So I think that's everything that I had for now. I thank you very much.
Ms. Burns, could you repeat E2 and E3? What was your recommendation?
So what I'm recommending, what our group is recommending is there's 4 signs that are going to be freestanding directional signage. E2, E3, and R10 and R11. And what we're recommending is reduce it to just 2, retaining E2 and E3 that say exit, enter. And those are right at the ingress and egress of the property.
And what did you say about E4, which was the drive-through? You
The
wanted that one
blue,
reduced?
yes, the blue signage that says drive-through, just taking the one off that's on the Titus side of the building. Leave the Hudson side, so leave the west elevation, but take the north elevation off. Because on both sides, already underneath the main signage, you're gonna have Rite Aid, and it's gonna say drive-through right there, underneath the Rite Aid name.
And I'm having a hard time finding the R numbers you gave.
Yeah, I was just looking for the R10 and 11 too.
Page 5? I think that's existing and proposed. I don't believe there's.
Right. The E's are existing and the R's are proposed.
Okay, yes,
believe there is only-
replacement, okay,
Yeah, I believe there's only 2, but we'll definitely have the applicant
okay,
Yeah.
clarify that for us.
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody else who would like to address the board? With that, would the applicant like to come up and speak to some of the comments?
I'm sorry, what elevation was that you wanted the drive-through down?
Directed here, I'm sorry. So it was on the Titus Avenue side.
Titus
which is-
Ave?
is the
Okay.
current E4 is what she recommended.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll go back, it's another sign company, it's MC Group, that does all the Rite Aids, so I'll go back, with my contact,
Yes.
have her redo the book, for the, routed letters with goosenecks and everything else, and we'll come back.
Okay, so she had some questions about the dimensions. If
Yes, they would stay the same size as proposed. I apologize.
And then we think there's only two directional signs, is that correct?
I believe so.
Existing E3, E2 become, I still don't see R10 and R11, but,
Yeah, they're.
Yes, there's only two directional signs.
They're in the very last two sheets, or three sheets, I think.
E2
kinda
and
clear.
E3 are the only two.
And Greg, we're probably gonna mandate that the signage be turned on 1 hour before opening and 2 hours after closing. It needs to be turned off. That's what we've
there they are.
mandated in the rest of the neighborhood,
Okay.
so. Just so that you know.
Yeah, they have digital time clocks and stuff they can use, so.
When you say routed aluminum letters, what is
It
that?
depends on what they use. There's some different materials. There's like a hard plastic, like a Centra they could use. There's aluminum.
So does that mean that it's like a panel with the letters routed into it, or are they still
No, they'd be
individual
separate letters, and then they would be, applied to the wall, probably stud mounted.
Oh, okay, got it.
Just for clarification, since you're gonna be modifying the drawings, I believe if I'm looking at this right, the drawing sheet 4, which says south elevation, is really the north elevation,
Okay.
and drawing 5, which says east, I believe is west. If I'm looking at that correctly, just help us for potentially next.
Yeah,
meeting.
usually we survey these and then they make the booklets, but we didn't do any of that, so
Got it.
it's
Yep, so south is north and east is really west.
okay. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
And I'll check that pylon out too and try to get some clarification on that when I come back.
so you're okay with tabling this, is what you're,
Yes.
so I think we'll table seeker and the application, Terry?
This isn't subject to seeker. It's a type 2
I
action.
gotta close the public hearing. Thank you.
Oh, did you indicate you were gonna keep the
Oh,
public
am I
hearing?
gonna keep it open? Okay, we'll keep the public hearing open, sorry. I thought she was gonna yell at me for not closing it. I'll second it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you everyone for your time. Appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terry, you got me nervous. I thought you were gonna yell at me for not closing the public hearing.
I would never yell at you.
Okay.
I don't know, the look in your eyes was.
She had that look like
I
I
just
was
said I
doing
would never
something wrong
yell.
again. Next case, please.
PB 202008-2, upon the matter request by BME Associates, acting as agent for Ridge Portland Rochester LLC and 1267 East Ridge Road Holdings for preliminary and final site plan approval for the redevelopment of an existing 11,000 square foot building and construction of a new 2,500 square foot building with related improvements on premises 1233 and 1267 East Ridge Road in an M manufacturing district.
Mr. Chair, I believe that this case has been adjourned from last month, and I would make a motion that we go ahead and pull it off the table for consideration. And I believe that would just be for the public hearing, but I know that you'll correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, do we have to-
Actually, I think it was it tabled or was it held over until this month? So I would look at our deputy town attorney for guidance, but it was advertised as a public hearing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they need a vote to pull it off the table or not.
It does say tabled in the minutes from last meeting.
Yes.
Oh dear, okay
was
then.
adjourned.
Probably safer then to make the vote then.
I'll second for you.
And just so everybody knows, we did do the seeker as a type 2 action at the last meeting.
Who first and who second?
Richards and second was
Okay.
Evelyn, and I need a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 7-0. Next case, please.
Oh, we need to take some action on this. You need to open the public hearing or reopen it and,
I thought you said,
So the fact that it was taken off the table,
right.
the applicant is not, I can give a brief overview of where we are for the public's benefit. So the public hearing was advertised and it's open tonight. We don't see anybody here to speak to this case. There have been no significant changes to what's been proposed. However, the project is under review through the Monroe County Department of Transportation for the purposes of a traffic analysis as it relates to the neighboring proposed development that we're going to talk about in the next item that's on the agenda for tonight. So there's no action that can be taken by this board because we're still awaiting comments from Monroe County Department of Transportation with respect to traffic analysis. And we're also, that could potentially impact site changes or site improvements that they might make to their project site that we're not aware of yet. So we're holding off, this board has to hold off on any decisions and should continue to hold the public hearing open. The applicant has acknowledged that their traffic analysis is still under review by Monroe County DOT and is more than happy to have this continue to be adjourned to next month, where they hope they'll have updated information on traffic impacts and traffic analysis from Monroe County DOT, and that our town engineer will have an opportunity to review those and provide comment to this board as well. The hope and expectation is that that information will be available to this board before the October workshop meeting, and then you'll be in a position to have hopefully the information you need to render a decision on this project in October, potentially.
And Mr. Chair, with that, I would like to make a motion that on PB 2020082, that this board, at the request of the applicant, table or adjourn this issue and leave the public hearing open.
Second.
That was Spencer. Thank you.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 7-0. Next case?
Sure. PB 2020-08-3, upon the matter request by Bowler Engineering, acting as agent for Chick-fil-A Inc., for preliminary and final site plan approval to redevelop an existing parcel into a new restaurant with outdoor dining and drive-through on premises 1115 East Ridge Road in an M manufacturing district.
And Mr. Chair, again, I will make a motion for case PB 2020083 that we lift it from the table for consideration tonight.
And I will once again give you a second.
So with that, you want to give us status of the project?
We just need the vote on that
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries 7-0.
So I can give a very similar update. The applicant here has been provided with a request from Monroe County DOT for additional or further traffic analysis, data collection, and/or study that's going to be conducted to also consider or include the proposed redevelopment at 1233 and 1267 East Ridge Road. The applicant is in the process of collecting that data and performing that analysis and hopes to have updated information submitted to both Monroe County DOT and to the town engineer at the same time so that we can expedite review and questions related to that information. And that information will also be furnished to the board at the same time. So we're expecting that information to be coming in the next week or so, maybe a little bit longer, but certainly before workshop was their intent to have that information to hear. So, again, this is not a type 2 action. This particular redevelopment project would be deemed an unlisted, and so therefore, before the board can take any action at a subsequent meeting, evaluation of and a determination of significance under seeker would be required.
And I'm sure Carrie would say this, but the public hearing remains open.
Yes, and the applicant is, again, they've granted and made their request via email to have the application extend into next month so they can have more time to address Monroe County DOT's request for more information.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion on PB 2020083 that we adjourn the application at the request of the applicant.
Second.
That was. No, Mr.
Palermo?
Say again?
No, they just wanted to know it was you that seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Carries 7-0.
And
Okay.
Chairman, if you're ready, I think I can introduce the items that are on the agenda for items for board action.
Sure.
So the first one is the request from the town board has indicated their intent to declare it lead agency for the purposes of seeker to evaluate the proposed rezoning of a portion of 2590 Culver Road to R5 to allow for the development of a multifamily residential development project. That development project would include state funding. So although it's not required based on the type of action it is, it's an unlisted action, the town board is electing to conduct a coordinated review for the purposes of seeker because the funding agency makes it easier for the funding agency. And so should the project move forward. So for that reason, the town board, since they're the first action required and the project couldn't move forward without the rezoning, they're requesting to serve as lead agent for the purposes of seeker. And then this board is being asked to consent to that.
So you're looking for a vote, just comments, or? I don't
Well,
have-
it's for the purposes of seeker, it's, you'd be either providing consent, agreeing to consent to that or not. As we discussed at workshop, just as a reminder to this board and to anybody viewing at home, when the town board does a rezone, when they do the seeker related to a rezoning, they have to contemplate the potential impacts of the proposed development, but also have to prepare or analyze the potential impacts of any development under that same requested zoning change. So they're looking at it through the lens of a proposed development, but it leaves the door pretty wide open for any kind of development under that R5 zoning that's being requested. So it'll be more comprehensive than just that single proposed development.
Okay.
And Mr.
Anybody on the board have comments or concerns?
Mr. Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from this case.
Yeah. And Mr. Chair, I know that this board is a concerned or has an interest in this issue or this matter. I don't see any problem with the town coordinating the review, and I think that it will find that that will be easier for the applicant when they're dealing with their funding stream. I think that we did bring up at workshop that we were most interested in traffic in that area because it's been an issue for us and other issues, and I know that the town would take that comment seriously.
Also the layout of the proposed development in comparison to the surrounding neighborhood.
Yeah, and certainly seeker will be addressing the project as proposed, but will also address just development of the site in general, and it'll be kept, the evaluation of impacts will be kept pretty wide open.
So I know we covered the things we discussed at workshop. Is there anything else?
So sorry, just for my clarification, because I missed the workshop meeting. So we're looking to vote
So-
to allow them, or
To
to
serve
allow the
as lead
coordinated
agent.
review, which is easy, right?
Yeah.
And then we're also commenting on general, we're making some general comments about
Things that they would be concerned about during the
the
seeker review.
rezone, which which is.
The seeker
part of
analysis of the rezone.
Not rezone.
Right, but how the rezone would affect seeker, correct?
You'd be.
The impacts.
Yeah, so as,
trying to get at,
there,
right.
you're granting consent for lead agency, and in doing so, if there were areas of concern or issues of concern for seeker, not for their site-related, you could certainly point those out. The one thing just to provide some level of comfort here, in a coordinator review, if a subsequent agency in making their discretionary decision doesn't believe that the determination of significance addressed the issues or some issue that's relevant to their decision, they have the ability to expand or request an expansion of that determination of significance and explore that additional area of concern. So even with town board serving as lead agency in a coordinator review, doesn't mean that if there was some environmental issue or concern that was raised during site plan review that wasn't adequately addressed during the coordinator review, this board could require that additional, review or study of it for the purposes of seeker. If that makes sense.
I'm good. Yep. Thank you.
So you're looking for a positive or a negative, or?
Yeah, in this case, it would be just a vote to consent for them to serve as lead agency.
So do we need a motion for that, or the motion would be?
Yeah, I think a motion would be to offer, if you wanted to offer consent or,
So, in regards to the intent to declare lead agency, upon the matter of request of the town board declaring its intent to serve as a lead agency to the purposes of seeker for the rezoning application at 2590 Culver Road, I recommend a positive declaration.
Mr. Chair, can we,
Consent.
tag that with the two issues that we brought up? Is that
Yeah,
something we
sure.
can do, with the following considerations and then?
and I think the considerations we heard were, that the town board, take a close look at the potential traffic impacts and that, potential for site circulation and, was it pedestrian access as well? Connectivity?
Connectivity to the.
Neighborhood connectivity, congruence with the, surrounding neighborhood to the extent possible.
Sure, and just as also a reminder, the evaluation of potential impacts for seeker does not preclude this board's ability to conduct a full and thorough site plan. In fact, the environmental analysis often at the town board level, when a project requires planning board review, will note that specifically as part of its analysis.
Mr. Chair, I'd second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye? I did, sorry. It's that mask.
Yeah, we can't see any lips moving, so
The man behind the mask.
So that passes with 6 ayes and 1 abstention from
abstention.
Mr. Evelyn.
Who is now out of the doghouse and can join us.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Is that what you were asking? I looked at these online.
I can call the next one. The, under town board referrals, upon the matter of request by Joseph Santa Croce for a special use permit to operate a used car sales lot located at 889 East Ridge Road in a C business district.
You want to give us some background?
I certainly can. As we discussed at workshop, this is the lot that's located next to the existing Santa Motors, a used car location. The intent of the special use permit is to utilize this now newly acquired lot next door to expand area where the used cars can be displayed. Application to the town board was made and will be they'll be conducting a public hearing at next month's town board meeting. This is looking for the planning board's comments as it relates to the proposed use of the lot adjacent to it. And just as a point of clarification, the existing operation of Santa Motors at next door has a special use permit to operate there. However, in order for them to be able to park cars associated with their business, they have to get a special use permit or expand the special use permit to include this neighboring lot.
Does it, we're only giving it for this neighboring lot, though, it's not an
Correct.
expansion onto
No,
its
it's just,
current-
you're looking at just a special use permit, granting the ability for this operator, an owner of property to
And
park,
it'll stay with that property.
correct.
All right.
Stays with this parcel, correct.
And Mr. Chair, I think that the board had looked at the lighting and at the signage on this property, and we wanted to have a look at it, because we believe that the applicant may have believed that there was nothing that he needed to do on that, but we feel the lighting is inadequate and that the signage may be an overkill. And if we were going to put this off to the town board, that we request that planning, that it come back to planning for review of the site plan.
So it was lighting, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the signage. I didn't think there was any.
There's a pylon sign out there that we're being told that there'd be no changes onto the site, but I'm not sure what that indicates to me.
There's also a building mounted sign, isn't there?
Yeah.
Existing building mounted sign.
Yep.
I think maybe also, the parking locations of the inventory on the site might be worth looking at. If they're gonna use the existing parking slots, that would be fine. I just think we need to make sure that everybody's clear on
Yeah, I
that.
think,
And just so you know, that's something that the town board would actually contemplate as well when they grant the special use permit. They typically specify the number of cars as part of that, so we'll make sure the town board typically will do that, or they'll note that it's as presented. So if that's not clearly denoted, or if we're concerned about how clearly it's denoted, the town board can specify the given number and sort of reference the locations of the parking as presented to the board.
So, Mr. Richards, you gave a couple conditions. Were you also gonna make that part of a motion, or?
yes, that can be a motion.
So is that a positive or a negative referral with those items?
With those conditions, I would give a positive referral that the town board issue the special use
Just-
permit.
I think the condition you want is just for it to come back to site plan review for those three things that we pointed out.
I think for site plan review, I was pointing those three things out for the town board to consider, but there may be other things that come along.
So I wrote down, come back to planning board for review of site plan.
For lighting,
Including,
signage, and parking.
I put down included lighting, pylon sign, building, and parking. Or do you want it just to be on those three?
I think the last time we did this, we had to be specific about the items that we were looking for in the site plan review to.
Including but
to
not
come back.
limited to, how about that language?
That's where I was going.
You can, yeah, I mean, you can have it be including but not limited to, that's
Right.
a safe bet. I think in past occasions, the special use permit that was requested, there was only limited things that you were concerned about. Here, if other things may come to light, that's okay too.
Okay, so, Mr. Richards, will you just say it one more time?
Yep, upon the request of the Joseph Santa Cruzo, or I got that
Santa
wrong
Croce.
altogether, for the special use permit to operate a used car lot located at 889 East Ridge Road in a C Business District. And this is a town board referral for a special use permit that we grant a positive recommendation with the town board sending the planning board a site plan, or the applicant coming back with a site plan for review that would include issues surrounding lighting, the signage, the building, the cars, and not limited to, but including those. And that should go first.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Palermo? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No abstains, no absent. Passes 7-0.
There you go.
The next town board referral is upon the matter of request by Land Tech Surveying and Planning, acting as agent for PEM LLC for rezoning approval to rezone a portion of 2590 Culver Road from R1 Residential District to C Business District.
Mr. Chair, I'd go ahead and make a motion that we make a positive referral, that this is part of the overall comprehensive plan on this plot of land, and that it should be, the town board would be staying with the comprehensive plan and designating this as a commercial district.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to once again recuse myself.
Got that. Any other comments or a second? I'll second it. Yes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Evelyn abstains, all the rest are aye. No nay, passes 6-0. Six aye, one abstain. Go ahead.
Upon the matter of request by Bergman Associates, acting as agent for Providence Housing for rezoning approval to rezone a portion of land located at 2590 Culver Road from R1 to R5 residential.
Mr. Chair, again, this would be in keeping with the comprehensive plan and previous board action on this parcel. I would go ahead and that we would make a positive referral in this, this request.
Pending no other comments, I'll give it a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And we have one abstain, so it's 6 aye, one abstain.
Chairman, did you second it?
Yes, I did. I should take my mask down. You probably can't hear, right? And with that, I think the last bit of business is minutes.
I'm going to ask that we push these off to the next meeting because I've not had a chance to review them.
I second that. With that,
All
meeting
those in-
adjourned.
all those
Oh,
in-
all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That, meeting adjourned. Do I need a second?
I'll give it to you.
Yeah, you'll get,
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Irondequoit Planning Board on ICAT Government Access. We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Irondequoit Planning Board on ICAT Government Access.